Okay, so you're about to launch this new business idea,
Exciting.
right? You're probably like knee-deep in market research.
Oh, yeah.
A/B testing, all that.
The whole shebang.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Are you validating your idea ethically?
That's a good question.
Yeah, and don't worry, I'm not here to like rain on your parade.
Right.
But building a responsible business means thinking about ethics from day one.
Absolutely. It's like laying the foundation before you start building,
Yeah.
those skyscrapers of like profit margins and customer acquisition.
Right.
You need a good foundation, ethically speaking, or the whole thing can crumble.
Nobody wants that.
No.
So in this deep dive, we're going to explore how companies like Honest Tea, Spotify, even Airbnb have navigated this whole ethical idea validation thing
Yeah.
and how you can apply these lessons.
It's about weaving ethical considerations into the very fabric of your idea, not just like an afterthought.
Yeah, not just a box to check.
Right. Exactly.
So first up,
Okay.
let's talk about transparency.
Transparency.
Yeah, it's a bit of a buzzword these days.
Yeah, it gets tossed around a lot.
But what does it actually look like in practice?
Right.
Especially when you're in that testing phase.
Imagine this. You sign up for this cool new service. You're excited to be on the cutting edge.
Okay, yeah.
You tell your friends, you're like, oh my God, you have to try this thing. You integrate it into your routine, and then bam,
What happened?
it was all an experiment.
Oh,
And your data's been used, and you didn't really understand how.
That's not cool.
Not cool, right? It just feels like a breach of trust.
Totally.
So transparency from the get-go is so crucial.
Yeah, like that Honest Tea experiment
Oh, yeah.
with the unmanned tea stands.
The honest stores?
Yes.
Such a fascinating social experiment, basically testing if people would pay for tea on the honor system.
Right.
But here's the key takeaway. They were upfront about it.
Exactly.
They didn't try to hide it. They
Right.
were like, hey, we did this thing. Here's how it worked. Here are the results.
They published everything.
Everything, the methodology, the results.
That's the kind of transparency that builds trust,
Absolutely.
even if things don't go according to plan.
Exactly.
They could have just kept the data.
They could have been like, oh, this is interesting data for us.
Yeah.
But they were open with their customers.
And that's huge.
It shows that you're not treating them like data points. You're respecting them as individuals.
Okay, so transparency, key.
Key.
But what happens when we get into sensitive data?
Ooh, yeah.
Like, that's a whole other...
That's a whole other ballgame.
Yes.
When you're dealing with personal information, especially something as sensitive as genetic data,
Right.
the ethical stakes are even higher.
Yeah, for sure.
23andMe is a really interesting example here.
Okay.
A company that's really trying to navigate this space. Well,
Okay.
from day one, they invested heavily in robust data protection measures,
Okay.
giving users clear choices about how their data is used.
So it's not just about, like, having a privacy policy buried somewhere on your website.
Right. It's got to be clear and accessible.
Yeah.
23andMe, their policies are transparent, easy to understand,
Yeah.
and they've consistently emphasized user consent and control.
Okay.
They even allow users to download or delete their data entirely.
Oh, wow.
It's like really putting your money where your mouth is when it comes to data privacy.
That's a good way to put it.
If a company is handling your DNA,
Right.
shouldn't you have a say in how it's used?
I mean, it makes you think, right?
It's a question every company handling personal data, no matter how big or small, needs to be asking.
Yeah, it's like holding up a mirror to your business practices and saying,
Yeah.
would I be okay with this?
Exactly. If I were the customer, yeah.
If I was on the receiving end of this.
And that brings us to another crucial aspect of ethical validation, navigating this tightrope between data collection and privacy.
It's tough, right?
It is a balancing act.
Because companies want the data
They do.
to personalize, to improve services.
To recommend your next favorite song.
Exactly. But then, you overstep those boundaries. And
Backfire.
big time.
Especially now when data privacy is so important to people.
Spotify is a really good example.
Oh yeah, they're built on data.
They are.
Music recommendations, personalized playlists.
The whole thing.
But they've also implemented features like private session
Right.
to give users that control
Yes.
over their data.
And that's key, offering that choice.
Choice is huge.
Yeah.
Spotify is very upfront about the benefits of data sharing, right? You get better recommendations, you discover new artists,
Right.
but they also give you the option to opt out
Yes.
if you prefer to keep your listening habits private.
It's about giving people the agency to decide what's right for them,
Exactly.
and respecting those boundaries.
Building trust, demonstrating that you value your users' privacy.
And that, I think, is what separates the companies that are just collecting data from the companies that are really trying to build those relationships.
Absolutely. It's like the difference between a transactional exchange and building a genuine connection.
100%. It's all about that long game, right?
Building that trust long term.
Not just like a quick transaction.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. Even with the best of intentions,
Yeah.
even when we're being transparent, we're respecting data.
Right.
Our ideas can still have unintended consequences.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like that road to hell is paved with good intentions kind of thing.
It's so true. And that's where things get really tricky with ethical validation.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just think about the immediate impact of an idea.
Right.
We have to consider the ripple effects.
It's like we need to be ethical futurists or something.
A little bit, yeah, like putting on our future glasses.
Right. Trying to
What
anticipate.
if this goes really well?
Exactly.
What could be the downsides?
And Airbnb is a perfect example.
Yeah, classic example.
A company that's had to kind of deal with
For
this.
sure, what started as this simple idea, right?
Yeah, renting out an air mattress.
Just like, hey, come crash on my air mattress.
Yeah.
Turned into this global phenomenon.
Right.
Disrupted the entire travel industry.
And then the housing market.
Yeah, exactly. All these unintended consequences started popping up.
Yeah, and it's like nobody could have predicted that at the beginning.
Right, exactly.
Huh?
It really brought the whole issue of unintended consequences into focus.
It did. And to their credit, Airbnb's taken steps
Yeah.
to address it.
Yeah, they've done a lot of research.
Yeah. Commissioning studies.
Looking at the economic impact.
Yeah.
Trying to limit listings in certain areas to address that housing crunch.
Working with cities.
Absolutely. Trying to be a part of the solution, not just the problem.
So it's not just about saying, oops, sorry.
Right.
It's about taking action.
It's about taking responsibility, being accountable, even when it's hard.
Which is tough.
Yeah, it's easy to say we messed up. It's harder to actually do something about it.
So how do we do that? How do we even begin to like see those potential downsides?
It's tough because when you're excited about an idea, you're like, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah, you're wearing rose-colored glasses.
Exactly. You need to take those off and get some different perspectives.
So talk to people outside your bubble.
Yes. Don't just talk to your team. Talk to people who might disagree with you.
People who might be critical.
Yeah. Those uncomfortable conversations can be the most valuable.
It's like you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. And those conversations can help you anticipate problems, refine your approach.
Build a better business overall.
Exactly. One that doesn't just make money, but also does good in the world.
Because ultimately, it's not just about maximizing profits.
Right.
It's about having a positive impact.
It's about asking yourself, should this exist? Not just, will it sell?
That's a good way to put it.
It's about thinking about the world you want to create, not just the bottom line.
And that's a really powerful shift in mindset.
It is, and it's not always easy,
No?
but it's essential if we want to build businesses that we can be proud of.
Businesses that are both successful and ethical.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, doing the right thing is always good for business.
It's true. And it's like that saying, with great power comes great responsibility.
Right.
But in this case, it's like, with great innovation comes great ethical responsibility.
I like that.
But you're up for the challenge.
Of course. And honestly, consumers are demanding it more and more these days.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
People really care about where their products come from, how their data is being used, what kind of impact a business has on the world.
It's not just about the product anymore, right?
There's values.
Yeah, people want to support businesses that align with their own ethics.
Absolutely. And that's why ethical idea validation isn't just about avoiding some PR nightmare. It's about building a brand that people really believe in.
A brand with integrity.
Yes.
Which you can't just slap on later.
Exactly. It's got to be there from the beginning.
From day one.
Woven into the DNA of the business.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into ethical idea validation, what's the one key takeaway you want to leave our listeners with?
Ooh, that's a good question.
The golden nugget of wisdom.
If I had to pick one thing, it would be intentionality. Be intentional about ethics at every step of the way.
I love that.
From the very beginning, when you're just starting to brainstorm all the way through to launch and beyond.
Yeah.
Be transparent with your users, handle their data with care, think about those consequences, and never stop asking the tough questions.
Intentionality. I love that.
It's about making conscious choices that reflect your values.
Yeah.
Building a business you can be proud of.
It's not just about the money.
It's about So much more than that.
So as you're out there navigating the exciting world of launching your business idea,
It's exciting and daunting,
yes,
but it's also an incredible opportunity.
it is. Keep all this stuff in mind.
Yes. Transparency, data privacy, unintended consequences.
Intentionality.
That's how it matters.
And you'll be on your way to building something truly amazing.
Something that not only generates profit,
Right.
but also makes a positive impact.
That's the dream.
Exactly.
And that is a wrap on this deep dive into ethical idea validation. We hope you found this conversation insightful, and we'll see you next time.